Good evening, everyone, and welcome to We Inspire, our weekly interview segment with entrepreneurs. So, before we get started, let me ask you the question: what is the most visually appealing thing about your phones, your laptops, your vehicles, or basically any product you have in hand? Yes, they have a functional aspect, but there's also a visual aspect that help you decide to buy the product in the first place. So, to answer that question, joining us today is our guest for this week, Mr. Uday Vikas, co-founder of Utpanna Design Works. He's also an industrial designer. Now, they help design products that is appealing and at the same time improves user experience. So, without further ado, let me welcome Uday. So, Uday, nice to have you here.
Thanks, Renoy. I would like to thank Vakil Sir for this opportunity. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you, Uday. And the pleasure is truly ours. Thank you for taking the time to do this. So, to get started, can you tell me what an industrial designer does?
Sure. Industrial designer is a branch of design wherein it deals with the aesthetics, ergonomics, and human factors of products. What we do is we design everyday products which appeal to human beings. So we take care of the aesthetics, we take care of the functionality, and we take care of the manufacturability of products, and then come up with concepts and get those concepts to production.
Wonderful, very succinct. So, just to go into another direction, it's the interesting thing over here is that you are actually designing something or conceptualizing something before it goes into production or before it goes into the engineering side of it. So because of that, you have to think from a perspective on what a product looks like. How can it be appealing? How can it improve the experience of people using it? And I think that's a very useful and powerful skill one can have. So is this something that one person can develop on their own?
Well, there's no such skill that nobody can develop.
Sure.
But yes, you can develop these skill sets over a period of time. But more than that, what you require is a certain sense of a creative ability and an out-of-the-box thinking, wherein you can understand the user needs, the unmet needs, and the user's future needs and design accordingly. So as a skill set per se, the most important thing for an industrial designer would be thinking visually and thinking in 3D. In the sense, say if you are, for example, if you have been given a task as to how to design, say, for example, a toothbrush or something like that, you'll have to be able to think and understand how a toothbrush is, how it gets manufactured, have an understanding of what sort of things goes into the toothbrush, have an understanding of certain areas. And based on that, there are certain design tools that you can utilize to come up with concepts. So in generally, whenever we take up a project, every project goes through a research phase. So this research is known as design research, wherein we understand the product, we understand the uses, we understand the functionality, and take up certain, considerations or take up certain inputs as to what sort of things need to be in the product and design them accordingly. So these tools and everything are known as design methodologies, wherein there are a couple of concepts that you can utilize to arrive at a conclusion, wherein that conclusion would give you a concrete basement for you to plan your future outcomes.
It sounds really exciting, right? I mean, the first time when I called you and you explained to me what you guys do, right? From that moment on, it really sounded exciting to me. And I thought I could give a perspective to our viewers wherein they can actually think on those levels, visualize something, think about it in the future. That's very interesting, especially now that you've broken it down. So now that you explained how it works, let's go into the business side of things. Now, Utpanna Design Works have been in business for about 5 years now. So I want to know, if was there a point where you and your business partner thought, okay, we'll start our business, or was it always in the back of your head, like we are eventually, or at some day we are going to start a business related to this?
Well, that's a very good question, because I don't know, because as an entrepreneur, as a designer, you never think about business, because every good designer is a bad businessman. Same ways, every good businessman can be a good designer. So initially, when we thought about doing something, we always wanted to understand and explore things together. So me and my business partner, Mr. Sushim Shetty, fortunately we were both batchmates, and we studied out of the same school, and then we've uh, kind of have an inclination towards working for ourselves. So that played a major factor, the mindset in terms of understanding the market, understanding the unmet requirements, and understanding the scenarios wherein we can say start up something and flourish in that. So in that sense, we always wanted to work together. So Sushima and me, we always had a bonding. We always had a kind of a camaraderie, wherein it was more like a brotherly relationship, wherein he was my big brother, and we kind of explored the worlds together, understood how things happen, how things need to be in place, and then eventually figured out that we can, yeah, jump into this together and flourish in this business. And thinking back about it, it has been a really, really, really good ride till now, and I hope so this ride continues. And as every entrepreneur, we always face ups and downs. So that is a part and parcel of this life. And best part is I have somebody who truly understands the end goal that we've started with, and we've are currently focused on achieving those things.
Wonderful to hear
So
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when you asked if we always wanted to start together, we always wanted to work together. So that eventually led up to us starting together.
All right. So wonderful to hear that, because more than the business itself, it's really about the partnership between two people that is really allowed to blossom and, uh, further
Great,
expand this business. So, it's great to hear that.
great.
Now, since you mentioned about ups and downs, I have to ask, the COVID situation has affected a lot of people in different ways, not just in
Correct.
India, but all across the world. So did it
Yes.
affect your business? And if it did, how were you able to handle the situation and overcome the difficulties?
See the major outcome. See, as a designer, the major thing that you have to understand is that designers are very, say, touch and feel kind of people. So we need to touch certain things. We need to understand the proportions. We need to understand, and you need to hold certain things to get a perspective about a product or something else. So over there, what we missed was, since the lockdown and everything, a lack of materials in terms of say vendors, or in terms of say workshops or garages or prototyping places. Of course, with the advent of technologies, there are 3D prints and everything. But as a designer, you are not satisfied until you sit there and you work it out, those minor details and everything. So that was one area where we felt that yes, something is missing in our regular day-to-day life. The second point was adjusting to the new normal of, uh, say, getting into kind of work from home,
Right.
wherein there were a lot of restrictions in place, wherein you couldn't travel and wherein you couldn't meet people, because our entire business revolves around people. So we do products for people. So when you take out the most essential component out of that, that is a major challenge that we had to overcome,
Hmm.
wherein uh, getting say even a face-to-face interview wasn't possible, or getting to meet people and see the product live, because when you certain things and certain products, you cannot judge the proportion until unless you see it in before you, in a sense, until unless you can feel it in front of you. So those were the aspects that we've had a little issue with. Other than that, even the pandemic was good to us. It doesn't mean that we were safe or something like that, but yes, we were not that majorly affected, because as a business, design is a very niche segment,
Hmm.
and people who are looking for designers, they know what they want. And as a resource or as a commodity, we are catering to those people who are looking for us.
Hmm. Okay. So in terms of this commodity, is there something you specialize in as a business, or prior to starting your business, both of you, did you specialize in certain fields or certain types of products?
Correct. So what happens is, just to give you a clear understanding, design also has different say areas and different scope of works. So industrial design has a gambit of, say, designing products which would go into mass manufacturing, as well as, say, consumer electronics or everyday stuff. But again, there are specializations which are available, like what we've done, which is automotive design, which is an amalgamation of all these other areas of design. So, for example, a car, let us take an example of a car. A car would require accessories, say a mirrors or headlights or your steering wheel or buttons which goes into the steering wheel or seats, seat covers. So these all fall under the industrial design aspect of it. Then you have the color and trims of car. So that has a CMF, color, material and finish designers which work on them. Then you have the body graphics and everything. So there's graphic design involved in that. Then you have packaging involved. Then you have engineering design involved. So this is an amalgamation of all these various core disciplines, and those disciplines form together to make up one major discipline. So that would be automotive design. And even in automotive design, there are other super specializations available. For example, some people might be only doing the exterior of cars.
Okay.
Some people are very inclined towards interiors of cars. Some people would be inclined towards yachts or ships. Some people would be inclined towards motorcycles or bicycles. Some people would be inclined towards buses or trucks. So mass transportation systems. So those are again super specializations available inside automotive design itself.
Okay.
So when it comes to us, my interests lie in the motorcycle field, and my business partner's interests lie in the four-wheeler and buses and trucks and yachts field. So I take care of the two-wheeler and three-wheeler. He takes care of the four-wheeler and yachts and the trucks and buses, mass transportation systems.
All right. So before starting a business, did you work with any company?
Yes. So before starting this business, we were working with a couple of design studios. So my business partner, Mr. Sushin, he was working with Maruti Suzuki, and he was working with Volvo Eicher. So he was doing his internships and he was doing his junior fellowship over there. I was working with a couple of studios, mainly Sri Design and ABDA studio in Hyderabad.
Okay.
So I was taking care of the industrial design and the product design segments over there.
Okay. So now that, prior to starting your business, you did work as an employee within certain companies, you and your business partner.
We did work as an employees over there. Whatever our understandings of, see, you'll have to understand that design is a very cost intensive business.
Definitely.
So there's a lot of investments which go through and everything. So as designers, if we have to take a decision, you'll also have to understand the repercussions of that. So in terms of costings, in terms of finance, in terms of timelines, there are a lot of things that you need to take into considerations. These all things you'll only be able to gauge them and you'll only be able to understand them when you work somewhere.
Right.
When you work somewhere, when you have the experience of working with different teams and when you have the experience of handling a couple of projects, then you will understand the nitty-gritties of getting a design out into the market. So for that, I would say working somewhere is definitely the prerequisite before starting up. And fortunately, we were fortunate enough to get through a lot of work. We got a lot of work our way, and we were able to get that experience while we were working, and we were also able to get that experiences while we started up on our own.
Okay. So speaking of experience, what I was actually going for is that, what is the difference between working as an employee and now as an employer, as an opportunity provider? What is the difference that you see in your professional life?
The major difference I would say is in the decision making, wherein when you're working for somebody, a lot of decisions are not taken by you because you are given a certain set of instructions as to what is required and what is the outcome that is expected from you. And when you've started up on your own, that responsibility of those decisions fall on you. So that is one area which is a very different. Second thing is again structure.
Right.
So when you're working for somebody, you have a predefined structure. I mean, like who takes care of what responsibility, where it comes. You have a lot of teams and a lot of people that you work together. So when you're starting up, that's something that you have to define on yourself, and that is something that you have to take care of by your own. So that's a major difference that we found out. And fortunately, we are able to cope up and we are able to do that.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. So moving on, let's go on to your personal lives a bit. Because as an
Sure.
entrepreneur, there are several commitments, several responsibilities, actually more responsibilities than
Great.
so. How do you manage the work-life balance in current, as per your current
A
scenario?
lot of people don't understand this difference. When you are an entrepreneur or a design entrepreneur, uh, there's nothing such as personal life. Everything goes into work, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for putting food on your table, and also there are a couple of other responsibilities where you're responsible for the people who work for you or who are working with you. So in that sense, starting up or starting a design studio is not for everybody. You
Hmm.
need to be really determined, and you need to have a clear set or a defined goal, and you need to have the focus for that. Because unlike when you're working for somebody, there are certain things which are taken care of, namely your remuneration or compensation or certain things like that. But when you're working for yourself, that responsibility falls on you. So you'll have to give 200% where 100% is required. So that is a major point which a lot of people forget, and they think that starting up is easy or becoming a design entrepreneur is easy. But eventually they'll find out that this is the toughest thing that they can do.
Hmm.
And then the sense of realization kicks in, and that is where we see a lot of talented or bright people leaving the industry and going back and working for some other organizations.
I'm glad you shared your perspective. I mean, it personal perspective on this level. It gives really an understanding, especially to budding entrepreneurs or people who are actually thinking about starting something on their own. So this is actually valuable advice.
And also, I would also say that having the right set of people with you is way more important than this. So fortunately, I was blessed to have a very good business partner like Sushim with me. So that has actually eased out a lot of efforts and a lot of pain on my end, because there's somebody with you who can take care of at least the next 50%, or in my case 80% also. So in that way, you have to have the right set of people, and you have to start up with the correct set of people who also share your path, and who also share your vision for the future. So in that regard, having the correct team, I would say at least the founding team, or at least the your business partner, is the most important aspect that you can have. So for me and Sushim, as I've told earlier, we do have a very brotherly, we do share a very brotherly relationship, like a older brother and a younger brother.
Okay.
So that eased out a lot of efforts for us, wherein our responsibilities are taken care of. We share those responsibilities. But if you're starting up, do keep in mind those things, that you need to have correct set of people as well as capital.
So can you talk about some of the services you've taken about with Vakil Search?
Okay. So with Vakil Search, let me be honest, from the day we started this organization, all my documentation, everything is taken care by Vakil Search, including the registration of my company, my finance, my accounting, my GST, whatnot. Everything is taken care by Vakil Search. So right from when we started up till date, so it's been close to 4 years that I've been associated with Vakil Search. And to be quite honest, all my details are with Vakil Search, and they are my team. So
Okay.
it's been a pleasure working with Vakil Search, because honestly speaking, I also do not know, there are so many services that I've taken up from Vakil Search and still continuing to do so. So I've been a regular client of Vakil Search from the day one that we've started up and till date. So yeah, if all the services that you guys have given to us, we have taken up those services. We have really enjoyed working with you. And there are a couple of people that I would really like to thank. Mitul is one such guy from Vakil Search, and there's Vijay. And Mitul has been a blessing here. I mean, like, honestly speaking, we wouldn't have survived without Mitul
Okay.
from Vakil
Glad to
Search.
hear that. Glad to hear that. Sure.
So a couple of people from Vakil Search that we would really like to thank: Mitul and Rishikesh. And Mitul has been really wonderful. It's a pleasure working with him. It's always fun when we speak to him, and I don't know how he feels about us when we call up, but whenever we call up, our issues are immediately resolved, and he's been a really a helpful person for us. Similarly, Rishikesh, if there are certain issues that needs to be taken care of, or certain issues which crops up, he's always available on a call, and he's always attentive, and he always takes care of his customers' needs. So, thanks, Mithul, and thank you, Rishikesh.
Finally, to close this interview, what are your future plans for your business?
That's a very good question, because future plans as of now is, we are a very young studio right now in India. Even in industry, even in design standards, we are a very young studio. We are booming up. What we would like to be is, or our future plans is always to be the number one studio in India, catering to different sectors and different businesses, and at least employing a lot more people than what we have, and providing opportunities to more and more young people and more young designers, and creating products that have value is our primary goal, along with having a very good relationships and very good projects with our clients, which would eventually become good products, and those products should eventually get us a good name in the market. So our idea is always to grow big, and hopefully we are on that way, and we really wish that we would reach our milestones, and we would reach our goals, and have fun along the way.
It's important to have fun. Well, Uday, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
From all of us here at Vakil Search, we wish you and your team the very best in all your endeavors. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, and I would really like to thank Vakil Search team. I would really like to thank my team, especially my business partner, Mr. Sushim Shetty, and all the people that have been associated with us along with our journey. And we would really like to thank your support, and hopeful that this support would continue and we can grow big. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes.
Thanks, Anay.